Hello and welcome back to my channel. We've got a request today for some Aizwan, a story of Aizwan, the last produce group. There's a request from Steve, and I've kind of always mentioned in all my videos of theirs that it's been really interesting going back after the fact, knowing them in their current groups they are now, and seeing them in Aizwan as this super group. We're like, wow, I can't believe they have all of these members in one single group. And I was there for Panorama when it did come out. That was like, I think the year I started my channel. That must have been 2020 then, right? And then I had no idea who any of these people were. That being my first and only at the time Aizwan song. And now going back, it's been super interesting. I think a year and a half ago, we did some of the other title tracks I had missed. So I was like, let's see how much I have left, because it always sounds really interesting, and it is really interesting to watch their stuff in this retrospect kind of manner. And it feels like it's this treasure trove of great content waiting for me, because I already know I love a lot of these members. And we've watched some of their variety on Patreon and Fourth Wall, but not a ton. And I know they have their own show and everything like that, like 2 seasons of it, I believe. So I look back at their discography, and I've seen everything. They truly were a proper 2-year project group, so they honestly don't really have a lot of stuff. Now, I have not listened to, I think, any B-sides whatsoever, none. So there's still a lot to uncover there, but I've seen all the title tracks, and that was kind of a little unfortunate to just see that and find out. They also have a lot of Japanese releases, like just as many Japanese releases as Korean releases, I think. At least it seems that way. But I guess you could say that is a lot in a 2-year span, but isn't a lot when I feel like I've seen every MV at this point, so that's disappointing. But we're here today to check out this little video here, about 22 minutes long, that is kind of I'm assuming to be like a little overture of their existence. So let's check it out. This is the same guy that did the Luna video, right? I've seen him at KCON at an Everglow panel. I'm pretty sure that is what Asian Theory is, right? The Luna as like the Marvel Avengers video. Man, if you told me that was India, I don't know if I'd be able to recognize her there in that photo. A lot of these members still, in a lot of ways, look exactly the same. Yena looks truly baby there, though. Getting ready to start season 2 of Squid Game, hopefully very soon. Yeah, it's crazy, man. What a power group. And like, to catapult all these others, like now you look at it and say, of course IVE is IVE, but it's still Starship, they could fuck it up. And they didn't, and they catapulted, I would say, at least at that onset, really catapulted by Wonyoung and Yujin being there, right? I mean, I wouldn't see any other reason. Of course, the debut was good, but I think that that's really what put them in the spotlight initially, like right out of the gate. These are well edited from remembering that Luna one too.
In January of 2016, a hot new reality competition premiered on
I do know
Mnet.
that song.
101 trainees from various companies would
It'd be
compete
cool to
against
go back
each
and
other
watch this.
on a show called Produce 101. The 11 finalists would go on to debut in a group by Mnet and CGAM themselves, known as IOI. The group went to find immediate success, so much so that they were one of the only groups who could stand up against juggernauts like Twice and Blackpink.
Now, IOI is one that I have not gone back to and checked out, even though I know a lot of those members as well.
Unfortunately, their success was short-lived, as they were built as a temporary group. In January 2017, like cherry blossoms in spring, IY faded into disbandment.
Did
Mnet
IY
knew they
do
hit
a full
gold
2
mine,
years
so
though? I thought
did
they
it
were
again
even
with
shorter
Produce
than
101
that.
Season 2. 101 went on to debut and become a monster boy group with huge commercial success. Now with Mnet's pockets significantly filled with coins, they said, hey, let's run it back one more time. But instead of 1-year contracts, let's do 2.5 years. Also, Japan has
so IY was only a 1-year contract. That's why. In my head, I have this idea that like all of these project groups are 2 years or more. So that does make a lot of sense. And then they had to rebrand all of this because of controversy, and now we're Boys Planet.
second
and
biggest
Girls
music
Planet.
market in the world. If we could somehow get into that Japanese market, that would mean even more coin for our pockets. So
I
a
mean, it
brand
makes
new
sense
Produce 101
also
season
with
was
the members
airing,
they
but
have,
this
why
time
they have so
with a
many
twist.
Japanese releases
It
too.
would be with 96 contestants, with 57 from Korean agencies and 39 from Japan, specifically the Japanese supergroup AKB48 and their sister groups. And for 12 episodes, 96 girls battled it out with the hopes that they could one day debut as one of the 12 finalists on the show. The show featured several big names like Lee Kaun from After School and Jang Gyori from Fromus 9. Then there was Matsui Jurina and Miwaki Sakura, who were both already superstars in Japan. The show and competition was filled with laughs, with new friendships, with tears, and tons of hwasa. I mean Subway. I make it.
make it. Boom.
Is that a Hwasa Subway commercial? I've never seen
Subway.
that.
I make it.
I make it. Boom.
Did they release a song for Subway?
펼쳐지는 마지막 데뷔 평가를 지금 바로 시작합니다.
With the final
Oh.
episode, they were
Oh, that's maybe the one thing I can't do though. It's going to be all the Mnet editing to where the announcement, they get ready to announce who's eliminated or whatever, and it takes 45 minutes.
finally ready to announce the final members of the new girl group. It started with Kim Minju from Urban Works, the same company of Filipino K-pop idol Krisha Chu. She finished at 11th place. Minju, who was born February 5th, 2001, went on to become one of the visuals for the group. Coming in 10th place was Kim Chaewon from Willem Entertainment, known
it's
for
a
her
baby
beautiful
Chaewon.
voice and fairy/angel-like appearance, even earning her the nickname Angel Chaewon. If they ever made a movie about a Korean Disney princess, she would look like Chaewon. Chaewon was born August 1st, 2000, and would go on to be the lead vocalist and lead dancer.
There are still people that like can't accept her doing stronger concepts and everything now in Le Seraphim, and because they pocket their mind space for Chaewon in this and how she was in Aizwan and in Produce, and can't move on past and beyond that.
Next
I
was
find that so
Honda
odd.
Hitomi at 9th place from AKB48. Unlike some of the other Japanese contestants on the show, Hitomi was not a big name. She was a smaller idol on AKB48's Team 8, a group she had to share with 39 other members. She debuted in 2014 at the age of 12. Hitomi, or Hichan, gained prominence for her unique appearance, voice, and of course,
Yeah,
her
Japanese
round
groups
cheeks.
are on
She was
another
born
level
October
when it
6,
comes to the
2001,
ages.
and went on to debut as the lead dancer. Kang Haewon from 8D Creative finished at 8th place. Haewon had a rocky, unstable start at the beginning of the show, earning her an F rating in her first ranking. However, her
We
rapid
love
improvements and her cult-like following
a comeback
catapulted
story.
her to the top of the rankings in popularity. Her adoption and loving friendship with Japanese trainee Minami was also heartwarming to see. Rap god Haewon was born July 5th, 1999, and she went on to debut as a rapper and visual.
True rap god. Hard as fuck.
Kwon debut as a rapper and visual.
What a clip.
Kwon Eunbi from Willem Entertainment went and finished at 7th place.
She didn't
Eunbi had
roll her
actually
R.
already started her K-pop career years ago in 2014 as Kazu in Yeah. She eventually left the group and joined Willem sometime later. On the show, she was a great dancer, but she was an even better leader. She gained popularity for her resemblance to Red Velvet's Irene. Born September 27th, 1995, she debuted as the lead.
That's funny because I've never really heard that comparison before.
Resemblance to Red Velvet's
I
Irene.
guess I could
Born
say-
September 27th, 1995, she debuted as the leader, main dancer, and mother of the group.
She
Yabuki
was
Nako
much
from
older.
HKT
She was a good bit older than everyone else, right? I don't want to say much older, but I mean, she clearly, even visually, was definitely the most mature looking.
P48 finished at 6th place. Nako was a prominent member of HKT48 and ranked 9th in AKB48's 2018 general election.
She's very
Naki
cute.
was
She's
notable
very
for
small.
being the shortest trainee in the whole entire competition, standing at 4'11". She exploded in popularity all thanks to one line in her performance of Love Whisper.
Oh man, this would be really.
되게 편하게 부른다.
All the idols also that didn't make it into IZ*ONE on these shows, or like even within the IOI season, it would be cool to see all of them that have, come into their own with their own groups and everything too.
The world was blown away by her cute appearance.
I like to see
and
those
voice,
reactions.
never dropping out of the top 9 since that performance. Born in June 18, 2001, Nako debuted as a vocalist for the group. An Yujin from Starship Entertainment came in 5th place, the second youngest member of the group. Even before
at her
debuting,
ball.
Yujin had already made a name for herself, starring in commercials since she was young. Born September 1st, 2003, Yujin debuted as a lead vocalist and lead dancer. Che Yena from Yuehua Entertainment finished at 4th place. Since the beginning, Yena was a popular contestant known for her silly humor and fun personality.
Yes. Oh god, and these intro videos, these would be so cool to see too.
She was
She's
also
the
probably
same.
the best all-rounder in the competition. She could sing, she could dance, she had great visuals, and of course, she had spits of fire.
Not much has
Not to mention,
changed.
she was the strongest trainee of the show. Is there anything Yena can't do?
Biceps.
Born September 29, 1999, she became the main rapper, lead vocalist, and lead dancer.
I saw her at K-Gun. She's
Next
awesome.
was Jo Yuri from Stone Music. She originally got noticed from her time in Idol School, the show that eventually went on to form Fromis 9, but it looked like her getting eliminated from Idol School was a blessing in disguise as she went on to finish in 3rd place. Known for her beautiful, silky smooth vocals, Yuri was one of the, if not the best vocalists in the competition. Born on October 22nd, 2001, she debuted as the main vocalist. With the addition of Yuri,
Wow,
the
I've actually never seen a lot of these. What would you call it? The induction when they get
she
they
debuted
pass
as the main
into the top
vocalist.
rankings.
With the addition of Yuri, the Jo Yuri's trio was finally complete. As 10 names were read and 10 girls took their seats among the top 12, there was a standoff for 2nd and 1st place.
포인트인 미야키 사쿠라의 생각.
The Japanese viewership of this show must have been insane. It must have been so freaking profitable for Mnet, and like it's like understandable why there's a lot of manipulation of rankings for this show for them. I mean, because they can basically form the exact group they want for the best monetary gain. So like all the impetus was there for them to do it, and that's why you look at Boys Planet, and I haven't watched any Girls Planet episodes, but I'm sure that just like Boys Planet, they say this has been peer reviewed by a third party or whatever to say like, hey, we promise we're not cheating this time and choosing the members.
40의 장원영 연습생.
But you could understand just
In
financially
the
why
left
it's so
corner,
attractive for them to do
Miyawaki
so.
Gadkura. Often noted as one of the most popular Japanese idols outside of Twice's J Trinity, Sakura had been in the limelight ever since she was a little girl. She was just 14 when she debuted for Japan's HKT48. She
Veteran.
was catapulted into stardom, becoming one of Japan's biggest idols.
Pop
even
grandma at
securing
this point.
3rd place in AKB48's general election in 2018. For the music video and performance of Nekoya, Sakura was voted as the original center. If Sakura's bias Irene was the original visual, then Sakura was the original center. She was clear-cut the most popular contestant of the competition. In the right corner, Tang Wonyoung, the born to be idol, the natural center. And
This would also be really cool to see, because I was kind of going into IVE and everything, and of course, I really like Wonyoung, and I was always wondering why there was so much hate also for Wonyoung and people defending her and all this controversy. And I guess that was purely there because she was popular. And I, of course, like Wonyoung now. I very much like IVE, but I want to see through this show maybe like why she was so insanely beloved by people and became so popular, as to why that is exactly. And maybe he'll go on here
and what's crazy is that
it.
she was only 13 years old when Produce 48 premiered.
That's crazy.
Making her one of the youngest contestants of the show.
Crazy.
Standing at 5'8", she's easily the tallest member of the competition, towering over everybody else. She was jokingly referred to as the giant baby because of her very likable personality, her surprisingly very impressive English skills.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. We are IZONE, and I hope you enjoy the show from Korea. Thank you.
To her 애교.
국민 프로듀서님, 내가 다 가질 거야. 내가 다 가질 거야.
She was able to capture the hearts of the general public and everyone who saw her. So who would be the center of the group?
축하합니다. 스타쉽 장원영 연습생.
Wonyoung would go on to debut in the coveted center position and the maknae of the group. And Sakura as the second.
Wow, yeah, I see things like that. I even forget that she was the youngest of the group. In my head, for some reason, because she's so short, I think it's Nako, but it's
in
not.
Center, visual, and dad of the group. All that was left to fill was 12th place, the last roster spot, where Han Cho-won from Cube would go up against Lee Taeyeon from WM. Taeyeon, like Yano, was an incredible all-rounder, but where she really stood out was dancing. Taeyeon was easily, by far, the best dancer of the competition, bar none. Produce 48 would make Taeyeon's third survival show, making a previous
Which
appearance
is so weird. Like, if that is very apparent, and I mean, her career afterward shows that that completely was true, how are you not a shoo-in if you were just outright the best dancer in the competition? A lot of this show does deal with popularity for sure. That is a driving factor, which is why I don't like these shows completely in terms of how rankings are done. I do wish it was just a panel of like expert judges, but
on K-Pop Star 3, where she failed to win, and on 16, where she failed to debut twice. Failure on her third survival show would likely be the end of her idol dreams. And with her eyes filled with tears and suspense in the air, in what seemed like hours, they finally announced the name of the 12th member.
WM 이채연 연습생.
Lee Taeyeon would debut as the main dancer of the group.
these parts are some of the best parts
The
of the
12
show,
girls
though.
would
Seeing
finally
their
come
pure
together
emotion.
as one. And thus, IZONE was born.
12 stars of Digital. These are so dramatic. I kind of love it. They're so dramatic.
아이즈원.
Do you think that if this were to happen today, people would be like, IZON, what? What the hell? Now it's just, you know, it's whatever you think about. Of course it's IZON. That's what it is. But everyone despises all these project group names now.
아이즈원.
I like Zero Base One.
Set to debut in October 29, 2018, IZONE had one of the most anticipated and hyped debuts for a girl group. Well, ever. No K-pop girl group in history had been as popular and well known as IZONE. Each of the girls were already stars even before releasing their first.
Why exactly does every Mnet group, project group, have a cosmic concept, whether it be IZONE or Kepler or Zero Base One? Why is that a theme? I don't know if I've ever been told that in any way, or they even said it on the shows.
Song, and IZONE did not disappoint.
Was IOI like that?
With the release of La Vie en Rose, they were breaking records
Still
left
a
and right.
sore
They broke
spot
the
in my
record for the
heart.
most views of a
We
K-pop
love
girl
you,
group's
CLC.
debut within 24 hours, garnering 4.5 million views. They broke the record for the most first-day sales by a debuting K-pop girl group. Then, 10 days later, they became the fastest girl group of all time to win a music show.
How soon after? I don't know if I saw the dates
Their album
of the show ending to their debut. Was it?
Colorize would go on to sell 282,000 units and was certified platinum. The album became the second best-selling debut album by a girl group of all time. IZONE was here, and they were ready to dominate the K-pop world. Their Japanese single Tsukito Iwasatai would go on platinum in Japan.
넌 나의 violeta.
Their next album, Hard Eyes, came out on April 1st, 2019, and would go on to sell
Big on Japan.
315,000 units, becoming the 20th best-selling
Wow, what a
album
colorful
on Madame.
stage.
Their single, Violeta, would win 7 music show wins. They then did a collaboration with English producer Jonas Blue with the single, Rise. On June 7th, they went on their first concert tour, Eyes on
That
Me,
I've
which
never
had
heard of.
several sold-out shows.
Ah, look at the size of that. You know, it's interesting too because I just finally got to Kepler's most recent song like last week. But I guess what happened to Kepler is kind of everything that if you're a diehard Kepler fan, if you wanted them to stay together, that you could have asked for in a way. They had that super uber popularity after the show too with the debut, and then that kind of never stuck for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why exactly, but that kind of then middling kind of response there is probably what kept them together, right? Because with IZONE being so popular and maintaining that popularity, it was never going to happen because every company that is invested in one of these girls then wants their piece of the pie. They want their IVE. They want their, Seraphim, what have you, rather than, keeping them together to where you're basically sharing your asset in this group. So I think probably the death of what causes the death of a project group is popularity.
And on July 6th,
That's what
they made
would
their
make
US
sense to
debut
me, at
in
least.
KCON New York. Shows. And on July 6th, they made their US debut in KCON New York.
Wow, man, I had tickets to KCON New York in 2020, and that's when COVID canceled it. But I was a year off. Dang.
Then
Oh my
once
God,
again
she's
in
so
KCON
cute.
LA. From June to September,
Bring
they
back
released
KCON New York.
another
What
2
the fuck?
successful Japanese singles in Buenos Aires and Vampire.
Ooh, I still
Hit
get to watch
after
these.
Hit, success after success, sales upon sales, IZONE was on top of the K-pop world, standing up to massive girl groups like Twice, Blackpink, and Red Velvet. IZONE's third album, Blue Eyes, was set to release November 11th. They were growing exponentially by the second. It seemed like IZONE was unstoppable. That was until it hit.
We're watching a murder documentary now? Till it hit.
Controversy is brewing over speculation that viewers' votes on a idol audition show hosted by Mnet, a music cable channel, were fabricated.
저희 취재 결과 구속된 담당 PD는 전체 4개 시즌 가운데 최근 2시즌에서 결과를 조작한 혐의를 인정한 걸로 확인됐습니다.
One
Only
of the
2 of
biggest
4.
scandals to hit the Korean entertainment industry. July 19th, several viewers of Produce X101, the sequel to Produce 48, suspected that the votes were being manipulated throughout the season, specifically in the finale. Many viewers suspected the same with Idol School and Produce 48. Netizens stated that the final result did not make sense and did not align with what the general public voted. They complained about the unfair results of the Japanese trainees and some of the Korean trainees like Kaun and Choan. Netizens
Yeah, it's a part of the fan vote thing too. I felt the same way when watching Boys Planet, of having this separation of nationalities, the global idol and then the Korean ones. The Korean ones largely because it's being watched by a huge domestic market are going to get a bigger shine and more show on the show itself, more screen time rather. It's kind of, I don't know. I never liked separating them like that. And here, of course, with them really going for a Japanese angle and to get Japanese viewership, you can understand how things might go certain ways. But I forget about the specifics of this, of, these actual call outs of who were manipulated necessarily or who were left out that should have won.
Were especially suspicious of Sakura's final ranking, despite coming out first in the polls from various online websites, being first in the online trends, and being
This puts
first
an
in focus camp
unfair
views.
target on
Many
her
people
from
thought her
annoying
final position was
people.
not an accurate measurement of her popularity.
Two producers of a famous audition show have been arrested for alleged vote rigging.
On November
up
5th,
arrested.
2019, the producers of the produce series, An Jun-young and Kim Young-bum, were arrested for vote manipulation. Eventually, An, Kim, and representatives from Starship, Willem, AT Creative, and Around Us Entertainment were indicted for charges including obstruction of business, fraud, and bribery. Even though the girls were not at fault, they were the ones who had to suffer. Immediately, X1 and
As
IZONE's
usual.
activities were halted. Showcases, promotions, guest appearances were all put on hold. Endorsements and brand deals were canceled.
Yeah, X1 lasted what? Like, did they have their debut and that's basically it? I remember I've checked out songs from resulting X1 members. Is it the group WeI that has an X1 member in it?
X1 and IZONE would enter an indefinite hiatus. The future of both groups became increasingly unclear. On January 6, 2020, X1 disbanded, and it seemed like IZONE would follow suit. From the top of the K-pop world to now being inches away from disbandment, it looked like this was it, and this was the end for IZONE. Or was it?
this is the way this is edited is just as dramatic as produce. This is their first full album.
Against
right?
all odds, IZONE would stay together and come back with their long-awaited single, Fiesta, and their first full album, Blue Minds. And not only did they come back, they made their return bigger and
Wow, that looks like the greenhouse from the Zero Base One debut.
stronger than ever. The Mnet scandal served to be free promotion for IZONE and only made the general public yearn more for IZONE. IZONE was built as a temporary group, disbanding after 2.5 years. Sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone, and many people realized they couldn't take IZONE for granted any longer. Every single song on Blue Eyes, even their B-side, would go on to chart in the top 200 in the Gaon charts. Known for probably being
I have to
their
hear
best
some of these
album, Blue Eyes
B-sides.
would not just dominate, it would completely obliterate the competition, selling 493,000 albums, making Blue Eyes, at the time of its release, the best-selling girl group album in Gaon history. With only a
Chan
year
just
left
get
in their
an injury?
contract, IZONE tried to make the best of their short time remaining. Just 4 months later, in June of 2020, IZONE would go and have another comeback with Oniric Diary and its lead single Secret Story of the Swan.
Song bangs.
Oniric Diary
Might be my
would
favorite
the best-selling
title
album
track
with
of theirs.
548,000 sales. At the time of its release, it would take the number 2 spot of best-selling girl group albums in Gaon history. To finish off 2020, on December 7th, IZONE released their 5th and last album, One Reeler, Act 4, with IZONE's very last single, Panorama. Once again,
I need to go back to this video and this song. I rarely listen to this song.
IZONE would dominate with 464,000 sales. IZONE would finish the year as the second best-selling girl group of 2020. It was
my
a bittersweet
God, it
year
looks
for
so
IZONE
good.
and IZONE fans. Within 2 years, IZONE became one of the greatest girl groups in K-pop history. But because of the Mnet scandal and the pandemic, their time with their fans was cut severely short. IZONE had one last activity before disbandment in 2021.
Wow, I mean, even just like 5 years ago, basically, the ways in which some of these things have changed with KCON LA too. The meet and greets are so different, and just the stages are huge.
On March 13, 2021, IZONE would go and hold their final concert, The Story. With this concert, IZONE had one last moment and concert to share with their fans. They shared their music. They shared their talents.
It's funny too because like this was fully like a year of me being into my channel, and the type of stuff that IZONE's putting out, super up my alley, or at least it very much became up my alley when there were so many girl groups doing strong, darker concepts, and they still had a lot of that brightness to them. And I never dipped my toe into their stuff because that writing was on the wall, because like I knew that time was basically running out, and you don't want to fall in love with a group where their future is already not only uncertain, but like certain like a certain end. And this was before, IVE and LE SSERAFIM and the solo careers had started. So you look like it feels like you're just getting into something to just make yourself sad.
They shared some smiles, they shared some laughs.
So I never did.
But in the last couple minutes of the concert, we shared tears as they said their final goodbyes to the fans that gave them so much love.
No, I don't want to watch this. This also must feel like, because they're so young, it must feel like their entire life at this point. This is like their whole professional career at this point. So it's got to feel like your whole world is crashing down, and you don't know what's to come.
다시 돌아오지 않을 소중한 하루하루를 저희 아이즈원과 함께 해줘서 너무너무 고마워요. 너무너무 행복했어요.
Wow, I don't know if I could watch that whole thing. Oh no, we're gonna walk off.
とても幸せな日々でした。終わりが決まってるんだと、いつか来るんだと心のどこかでは分かっていても、それでも必死で駆け抜けてきた最高の2年半でした。 그래도 오늘이 끝나도 저희가 아이즈원이었다는 게 변함이 없듯이 우리 위즈원도 변함없이 위즈원이었다는 거 잊지 말아주세요.
And you hear about it come up from fans too often. I'm pretty sure it's IVE specifically, right? To where IZONE, I don't know if I can recall it exactly, but I remember reading recently that they like don't bring up the group. That like, I don't know if it's like Starship telling them to so, but from what I read, they really just do not bring up the group almost ever, which is interesting.
Full of emotion and with tears in their eyes, the leader, Eunbi, would introduce the final and last time IZONE would take the stage. But much to IZONE's surprise, the fans would pull out the Uno reversal card and sing their goodbyes.
That's what we did during COVID. We put our webcams on the screen. Yeah, and the fact that, of course, because of it, it had to be, they couldn't even share it with fans in person. It had to be an online concert. Oh, did they have did they have like a proper comeback showcase where they did variety stuff with performances? That's like, looks like it's a part of one. That moment I feel like everyone has seen if you're just a K-pop fan, regardless if you were a fan of theirs. Wonyoung's immediate fall to just being stupefied by it. It's also funny seeing in a lot of these early clips how, God, their personalities, it's just like, obviously it has been a tremendous amount of time, but they're just the exact same type of person, personality-wise, that you see in their current groups.
2.5 years. And that's all we got. And it just wasn't long enough. And even though we're saying our last farewells, we are and always will be. One.
Well, 2.5 years is extremely... Who is not Chinese? That really ruins that quote from Yena. But anyway, 2.5 years is really a short time, because I even think of groups now that are... Think of a group like ITZY, where in my head, for some reason, I still think of ITZY as like one of the newer K-pop groups, where at this point, like, you have NMIXX under them at this point, and even NMIXX is 3 years old already. It's crazy how fast time moves. That 2.5 years is nothing. That's nothing at all. Of course, they did a lot in that time span, but that really is not, that's not a lot of time. But now I'm sure there are plenty of fans of IZONE who are now fans of their current groups or their solo projects. But yeah, this was a cool little wrap up. It does remind me just how much I am missing out by not having seen those earlier produced seasons, and also all the IZONE content that's still sitting there that I know that I'm going to enjoy, like all the B-sides, and as well, I'd say I'm even more excited for all of that variety stuff, because really it's like the personalities that I've come to love from a lot of those members. So we've watched 2 episodes, I think, of like that variety show, but the Halloween episodes of that was really, really fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Check out my old IZONE videos that I've posted, and I'll see you next time.